The little girl was trembling that eye in the middle of a crowded shopping center on a bright afternoon. People stopped and stared as 8-year-old Ivy collapsed onto the polished floor, covering her ears and crying uncontrollably. The noise of the crowd, the flashing lights from nearby displays, and the chaos of the busy day had become too much for her sensitive mind. Some people looked uncomfortable. Others simply walked past, but one woman stepped forward. What happened next would cost her job and change her life forever. Before we begin, if you believe kindness deserves a second chance and that one act of compassion can change a life, please like this video, comment below where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Lifeline Corner for more heart-touching stories. The morning had begun like any other for Maren Holt, at 31 years old. She worked at a department store inside one of the city's largest shopping complexes. The pay wasn't great, but it helped cover rent for the tiny apartment she shared with her elderly mother. Every paycheck mattered. Every hour mattered. Maren had learned long ago that life rarely offered shortcuts. Her father had passed away when she was 16. College became impossible. Dreams were replaced by responsibilities. While friends built careers, she worked double shifts, cared for family, and quietly accepted sacrifices that nobody noticed. Yet despite everything, she remained remarkably kind. Customers often remembered her smile, coworkers admired her patience, children naturally trusted her. That afternoon, Maren was organizing merchandise near the entrance when she heard a sudden scream echo through the mall. At first, she thought a child was hurt, then she saw Ivy. The young girl sat on the floor, tears streaming down her face, her small hands pressed tightly against her ears. Around her, confused shoppers gathered in a circle. Some attempted to help, others accidentally made things worse. The noise increased, the crowd grew larger, the little girl's panic deepened. Standing nearby was her father, Callum Voss. Most people recognized him instantly. He was one of the city's most successful CEOs, a self-made millionaire whose technology company employed thousands. Newspapers often featured his achievements, business deals, and charitable donations, but in that moment, he wasn't a powerful executive. He was simply a frightened father. Callum knelt beside his daughter, desperately trying to calm her, but nothing seemed to work. Then Maren stepped forward. Years earlier, her younger cousin had been diagnosed with autism. Maren had spent countless hours learning how to support him during sensory overload episodes. She understood something many people didn't. The child didn't need more voices, she needed less. Maren gently asked the crowd to move back. Some listened immediately, others hesitated. But gradually, space opened around Ivy. Then Maren lowered herself to the floor several feet away from the child. Making herself appear non-threatening and calm, she spoke softly, not demanding, not rushing, simply offering reassurance. Slowly, the overwhelming pressure around Ivy began to ease. Minute by minute, her breathing steadied, the tears slowed, the panic started fading. For nearly 20 minutes, Maren remained there, helping a frightened child who wasn't even her responsibility. Eventually Ivy looked up. For the first time since the meltdown began, she seemed safe. Callum's eyes filled with relief. His daughter was finally okay. But while one crisis ended, another was about to begin. A store manager had been watching the entire situation. Instead of seeing compassion, he saw an employee abandoning her assigned duties. Instead of seeing humanity, he saw lost productivity. The moment Maren returned to the store, he confronted her. Customers nearby watched in disbelief as the manager harshly criticized her. Maren tried explaining. She explained the child needed help, she explained the father was struggling, she explained she couldn't simply walk away. The manager didn't care. Without warning, he terminated her employment on the spot. Years of loyal service ended in less than 2 minutes. The shopping bags slipped from Maren's hands as shock washed over her. Her stomach tightened. Her rent payment was due next week. Her mother required medication. She couldn't afford unemployment, yet somehow, despite everything, she still didn't regret helping the little girl. As tears formed in her eyes, she quietly gathered her belongings and began walking toward the exit. People watched but remained silent. Most felt sorry for her, few knew what to do. Then something unexpected happened. Callum Voss stepped forward. The billionaire CEO had witnessed the entire exchange. He had heard every word, and what he saw left him deeply disturbed. For years, business success had taught him to identify character. He knew talent mattered, experience mattered, but genuine compassion was rare, very rare. And the woman walking toward the exit Possessed something no resume could measure. Callum caught up to her near the mall entrance. Maren assumed he simply wanted to thank her. Instead, he asked a question that completely changed the course of her life. He asked whether she would be willing to meet him the following morning. Confused but curious, Maren agreed. That evening, anxiety consumed her. She had no idea what to expect. Maybe he wanted advice regarding his daughter, maybe he intended to offer financial assistance, maybe it was simply another thank you. The next morning, sunlight streamed through enormous glass windows as Maren entered the headquarters of Voss Technologies. The building itself was breathtaking. Employees moved confidently through modern halls. Innovation seemed to exist in every corner, yet Maren felt completely out of place. She wore her best outfit, though it was several years old. Her hands trembled as she waited. Then Callum appeared. What followed stunned her. He revealed that after losing his wife 3 years earlier, raising Ivy alone had become the greatest challenge of his life. Money could buy specialists, money could buy treatments, money could buy resources, but money couldn't buy understanding. The previous day, Maren had demonstrated something extraordinary. She had seen Ivy as a child first, not a problem, not a diagnosis. A child. Callum explained that his company was launching a new community outreach division focused on supporting families of children with developmental differences. The project needed leadership, more importantly, it needed heart. Then he offered Maren a position, not as an assistant, not as an entry-level employee. As director of the entire initiative. The salary was more than she had ever imagined earning. The benefits would support her mother, the opportunity would transform her future. For several seconds, Maren couldn't speak. She honestly believed she had misunderstood. People like her didn't receive opportunities like this. At least that's what she had always been told. But Callum wasn't offering charity. He was offering trust. The weeks that followed felt unreal. Maren threw herself into the role with passion and determination. She met families facing challenges similar to Ivy's. She listened to parents who felt isolated. She organized programs, resources, workshops, and support networks. Soon, lives began changing. Families who once felt alone found community. Children received assistance. Parents discovered hope. The initiative grew faster than anyone expected. News outlets began covering the program's success. People praised the company. But Maren knew the truth. Everything had started with a simple choice. A decision to help a struggling child. Months later, the shopping center hosted a large community event. Hundreds attended, families gathered, children laughed. Music filled the warm afternoon air. Among the guests was Maren's former manager. He stood quietly near the back, watching everything unfold, watching the woman he had fired become a respected leader, watching the impact she created, watching the lives she changed. For the first time, he appeared genuinely ashamed. Meanwhile, Ivy ran across the event grounds smiling. She was happier than she had been in years. Her confidence had grown, her world felt safer. And every time she saw Maren, her face lit up. The bond they shared remained special. Not because Maren had saved her, but because she had understood her. As the sun began setting, casting golden light across the gathering, Callum stood on stage addressing the crowd. He spoke about success, not financial success, human success. He explained that the most valuable people in the world are often those nobody notices, the ones who quietly choose kindness when nobody is watching, the ones who help without expecting rewards, the ones who see humanity where others see inconvenience. And sitting in the front row, tears filled Maren's eyes, because for the first time in her life, she understood something important. Her kindness had never been weakness. It had always been her greatest strength. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, share this video, and subscribe to Lifeline Corner. Your support helps spread stories that remind people goodness still exists in the world. Special request: comment the word kindness below if you believe one small act of compassion can completely change someone's life. The truth is that miracles don't always arrive with flashing lights or grand announcements. Sometimes they appear in ordinary moments, disguised as simple choices. A woman chose to help a frightened child. She lost her job because of it. Yet that same act opened a door she never imagined possible. In the end, she gained far more than employment. She gained purpose, respect, and a future filled with hope. And perhaps the greatest lesson of all is this: whenever kindness costs you something, don't assume you've lost. Sometimes life is simply preparing to give you something greater in return, and on that beautiful afternoon, beneath the warmth of the daylight sky, everyone who witnessed Maren's journey understood one unforgettable truth: compassion may not always be rewarded immediately, but it never goes unnoticed forever. I hope this fits the emotional, cinematic style you were looking for.